Welcome to sixth grade language, and you are well into your school day if you are going in the same order that we have it in that we normally go through. But we are in lesson 150. This is April 20th. If you need to know, I do have the date right this time. We're doing pages 232 and 233. And so up on the board, I have a little paragraph that we're going to label some parts of speech, okay? So we're gonna start, I wonder, it'd be better if I'm standing on this side, okay? So I'll read it for you if you, hopefully you can read it or see it mostly. Okay, good posture will improve your appearance. Stand up straight with your shoulders back and your abdomen in. Remember, good posture is not rigid. You should move freely. Okay, so we're gonna take this sentence by sentence. There are four sentences in this, I'm sorry. But we're gonna look at every underlined word and we're gonna label it, okay? So good is the first one that's underlined. And what is good doing in this sentence? Good posture will improve your appearance. All right, and if we should also see if we can label our subjects and verbs, and that may help you in knowing some of these parts of speech. So what is this first sentence talking about? Posture. Okay, good. So posture, I'm going to underline it in this color, the darker or the brighter color. Although it doesn't look like it's coming up any different than what I've got. Posture is our subject. So what's our verb? It's actually will improve. So these are verbs, right? Okay, so that gives us two of our words in this sentence. So what is good doing? Okay, good posture is an adjective, and maybe you already said that. It's an adjective describing the posture. What kind of posture? Good posture. Okay, good posture will improve what? Your appearance, right? And so these will improve, is that a linking verb or an action verb? It's action, right? So this is a direct object, okay? All right, so good posture will improve your appearance. So that's your direct object. Then the next sentence, stand up straight with your shoulders back and your abdomen in, all right? So where's our subject and verb in this sentence? Is there an action that's being done? Yeah, stand, right? So who's standing? Who's supposed to stand? You. This one has an understood you. All right. So you stand or stand up straight. So up and straight are both underlined. So typically what is the word up? In most cases, up is what? A preposition. But we have to look at the word after it. And does it have a noun after it? Or it could have some words in between, but does it have a noun that would come after it? Straight isn't a noun, right? So when it's not used as a preposition, what is up? An adverb, right? It describes how you stand, right? So this is an adverb that goes back to stand, right? And then straight, you stand up, you stand straight. This is also an adverb that goes back to stand, okay? So sometimes you can have those that sit next to each other and they're both adverbs that go back to the same verb. Okay, and with your shoulders back and your abdomen in, what is your? It's an adjective, right? Because it's describing whose abdomen, right? All right, this next one, This next sentence, we only have one word underlined in it, and it might be a little tricky, so we're gonna work through it together. Remember, good posture is not rigid. Okay, this one is tricky because let's find our subject and verb, and it may help you. Because there is a phrase that doesn't have an obvious. I'm just going to go through this one. I think I'm not sure if we have done any like this, and so I'm going to go through it. So remember is actually a verb in this because who remembers? You, and it's got an understood you. But this sentence also has another subject and verb. And the reason it's not a compound sentence, it's not you remember and good posture. No, it's actually, we could put a word in here, that, and it makes it a participle phrase. So it's something that we haven't really gone into yet. So in this case, remember is our verb, and then there is another subject and verb in that same sentence, but it's part of a verb or part of a phrase. So it couldn't, if we had that in there, it couldn't stand on its own. But if we put remember, it's like it's combining two sentences. It's not fully. So anyway, so that's a verb because you can remember, and that's one of your checks is, you know, if you can do it and if that's what you're supposed to be doing in the sentence, and that is what they're saying. Okay, you should move freely, okay? So where's our subject and verb in this sentence? You should move, okay? So then what would freely mean? You should move where? You should move when? You should move how? Freely. It's an adverb, right? Okay. All right, so I hope that has helped you with identifying parts of speech. So we have on our page prepositional phrases as adverbs, okay? So we did prepositional phrases as adjectives, and now we're looking at them as adverbs. Prepositional phrase that modifies a verb, an adverb, or an adjective is called an adverb phrase. An adverb phrase usually answers the questions where, when, how, or why. Sometimes it answers why. So in 1858, Theodore Roosevelt was born. Okay, the adverb phrase modifies the verb was born, telling when. Okay, Ryan is good in school. He is. He's very good in school. Okay, the adverb phrase modifies the adjective good, telling where. Okay, and I'm not saying that McKinley and Morgan are not good in school, but that was the sentence there. So I wanted to clarify that I was not picking favorites. All right, we will visit you later in the year. The adverb phrase modifies the adverb later, telling when. Okay, an adverb phrase at the beginning of a sentence will modify the verb. An adverb phrase that modifies an adjective or an adverb usually comes right after the word that it modifies, okay? At every opportunity, show kindness, okay? So this is the very first one, and you can read that look closely box to help you. Draw a circle around each adverb phrase, draw an arrow to the word that the phrase modifies. At every opportunity, show kindness. So where is our phrase? We have to find our preposition, right? At. And then we go until we get a noun, right? At every, it's not a noun, opportunity. Is that a noun? Yes, at every opportunity. So circle that whole phrase. Show kindness. So what is our verb? Or what word is it going towards? So it describes show, when you show, at every opportunity. Okay, so show is your verb in that case. So draw an arrow from at every opportunity to show. All right. I'll let you finish that, that think exercise on your own. If you go to page 233, we are looking at diagramming the adverb phrases, okay? So it's just like we diagrammed a prepositional phrase before, only we are putting it underneath the verb, okay? So it's, I will do one. We'll do the first one on the board, okay? So, after their initial disappointment, the campers became excited about the new plans, okay? So, first of all, we need to find our subject, verb, and if there's a complement, and we have to then find all of the words that modify or describe it, okay? So after their initial disappointment, the campers became excited about the new plans. What is our subject and verb? Campers became, okay? Campers became. Campers became what? Excited, right? Okay, so what kind of verb is became? Okay, did they actually turn into excitement or excited? No, so became is a linking verb, right? And so then excited is what type of word is, so our two options are predicate nominative and predicate adjective, PN or PA. So is it an adjective or is it a noun? Excited is an adjective, right? And so it's a predicate adjective. So we're still, it's the same thing, we still draw that slanted line there to show that it links back to the subject. In this case, it describes it. Okay. All right, so we have our basic setup for our sentence. Do we have anything that describes campers? Let's see if there's anything. There's the word the, right? And the's always an adjective, okay? So, after their initial disappointment is our phrase that we are trying to figure out where it goes, right? So, when we have an adverb, and a prepositional phrase that comes at the beginning of a sentence, what word did it say it usually describes? Your verb, okay? So let's see. Does after their initial disappointment describe how they became, when they became, where, or why? It would be when because it's after, right? Okay, so anytime you see after that, it tells you it's when. So I'm going to put, I'm going to fix my spelling. After a disappointment, because disappointment is the object of this prepositional phrase, what describes disappointment? We can ask, what kind of disappointment? Which one? I'm sorry, I drew a blank on the questions. What kind, which one, how many, how much, and whose? So, which disappointment? The initial disappointment. And whose disappointment? Their disappointment. So we'll put their and initial. Okay? So there's your prepositional phrase that describes the verb became. And one more thing is that this is the very first word in the sentence, and so the very first word in the sentence, wherever it falls on your diagram, I want you to make sure that you're capitalizing it, okay? And then we've got one more phrase in this sentence that we need to look at. About the new plans. Is that a prepositional phrase? Yes. And what does it describe, okay? So it's going to answer where, when, how, or why, okay? So the campers became excited where? No. The campers became excited when? About the new plans, no. How? Why? Yeah, they became excited about the new plans. Why? Because of the new plans. And so this actually describes excited. So we put our preposition and our object of the preposition, and then there are two words that describe plans, the new plans, okay? So that is, I'm going to move this over, let you see all of that. I want you to write this down, okay, guys? I want you to put it down on your paper because this will help you remember how to diagram it, okay? And you will sometimes have your prepositional phrase might have a compound object, right? So you could have for, carry, and me. Okay? So in that case, remember we do our rocket for our object of the preposition, okay? Your preposition, you'll never have two prepositions in the same phrase, and they don't do compound prepositional phrases. But they will do a compound object of the preposition, the nouns or pronouns that are at the end of that. So I want to just point that out, and you could even write that one down if you need that to remember. So just work through these. You're doing, let's see. So you go back and do the think exercise, and then you come and you do this exercise. And because we need the extra practice, I'm gonna have you guys do all of them just for the extra practice right now. I really want you guys to get this. So when we have it later, we'll cut it down a little bit when we have more diagramming with these. But for now, do your best and make sure that you are following all the instructions, and that if you have questions that you ask. So I will let you go, and I'll see you in the next lesson.